When I'm walking down the street.
I do want to say to Doni and many of you in this room that over a very long career in this city, all of you have helped me and my colleagues tell the truth and to try to tell.
I may not look like you and you me, but
my head up.
I'm from South Carolina, so I just
What does this event mean to you, Miss Peggy Moss?
Oh, my heart.
Happy 20th anniversary.
My heart is about loving up on my sisters. Do you know what it feels like to have your sisters in the room? John.
And dare to be different and unique. I'm gonna be the best me I can be by letting His glory shine through. I am beautiful, I am blessed, but not just what you see in the flesh. I'm free from people, free from myself. There's a
the doctor lived next door to the janitor, to the reverend, and the lawyer. We were together. Now we get so high and mighty that you create stress for your society because you don't like poor black folks either. That's a health problem. Get yourself together so I can stop being taking care of geriatric people and get back to pediatrics. I thank you, Doni, for all you've done. Let's keep doing it all the more.
letting His glory shine through. Dare to be you, dare to be me, dare to be different and unique. I'm gonna be the best me I can be by letting His glory shine through. And I dare you, I dare you, I dare you to be you.
First name's Doni, last name's Glover. In it to win it for the long haul. Baby. All right. We're here. It's May 2nd. May 2nd. One of the things I'd like to share with you was from my experience over the weekend. Special thank you to Rondi Griffin. He insisted that we come down to see Dr. Long's The Giz. There you go. Can you see that? The Giz. It was held at the Lincoln Theater, and it was the DC version of The Wiz. It was just really, really nice. This is the promo book, the Giz. And the Giz, the G is for G for go-go, because it was full of go-go. Actors and actresses included Hilary Daniel. She played Daniel. Rayshun Lamar, one heck of a voice. He played the Scarecrow. And so on and so forth. Frank Marshall is the Lion. But let me tell you, the dancers, this is another look at it. The dancers were just off the hook. It was just a really beautiful thing. Dr. Darnell, and I believe, was it Long? I'm thinking about the chef. His name is Dr. Long. I know his name is Dr. Long. Where's it at? Laval. There you go. Dr. Laval Long and Angelique Long, they were the writers. And I interviewed Dr. Laval Long outside of the play out in, the lobby. And he explained that he came home from prison and this is what he's been doing. Really, really, let me tell you, what I love most about it was the DC culture that was just ever present. It was everywhere. It was just a beautiful thing. So I know it played through the weekend. I'm not sure where it will be playing again, but I had a wonderful time. What else did we do last week? Nothing like that first sip. We had a Black Wall Street down in gorgeous Prince George's County. And it was off the hook. Starring State Senator Tommy Broadwater. This man is a legend, is a giant in his 80s, looking great. Of course, growing old comes with its challenges, but his spirit It's beautiful. I pray to God I can reach that age, and I pray to God I can have the wherewithal, the state of mind to still be able to command the attention of an audience, and that he did. Special thank you also to Dr. Wilbert Wilson for making it happen. Dr. Wilson is a big brother, a father type figure, a mentor to so many of us. He's very active in politics. He understands that without economics, there are no politics, and that politics better equal economics, just as Tommy Broadwater said, because if you don't have both, you have nothing. You can't just have politics. It's not enough just to have the governor. You got to have money too. It's not good enough just to have the mayor. If blacks in prominent position isn't translating into economic dollars for economic development, dollars for schools, dollars for shopping centers, stores, restaurants, supermarkets, if the politics isn't translating over into economics, then what in the heck are you doing? And this has always been important to me in a 9-1 Democratic town because we vote so heavily Democrat. And to me, when you vote so heavily one way, you should get your return on your investment should be heavy also. But when I look around Baltimore, for example, and this has nothing to do with the current administration, I'm going back decades. The investment in East and West Baltimore, minuscule. Kurt Schmoke was the last mayor. And again, not discussing the current mayor, how he's been there 5 minutes. But the last mayor to invest in Sandtown in East Baltimore heavily was Kurt Schmoke. I remember so many people saying so many things about Kurt Schmoke. Some say that, they wanted to see more black millionaires made. Otis Warren was one, with all due respect, where the mayor, Kurt Schmoke, made sure resources, made sure an opportunity that wouldn't otherwise go to a black man in a majority black city, he made sure that happened. That's my understanding. If you have a different one, I'd love to get your opinion. Yes, Otis Warren was going to do well anyway, but it just was nice that a black mayor played a role in that. When you think of Washington, D.C., when you think of Mayor for Life, Marion Barry, that is exactly the reputation that he had. He will go down in history as one of the greatest mayors ever. I don't care who you are and what you think. He was. That's why the people of D.C. will vote for him over and over again. He understood the economics. He also understood service. Malcolm X said, you can't serve the people if you don't love the people. A lot of young politicians get involved today at a younger age. I see some involved in their 20s, and I admire that. But do they understand service? Because some of the older ones have left some poor examples of service. When you get caught clipping money in the 80s and then 2010, 2015, you get caught clipping money again, you have not only wasted 30 years of your life, but you have betrayed the very people you claim to serve. Period. End of story. Disgraceful. Shameful. We've seen that here in Baltimore, in the state of Maryland. People who claim to love the people, but they don't serve the people, they serve themselves. And they do that poorly. So we need more politicians who understand that politics much translated into economics for the community. Without such, you have nothing. Money comes to Baltimore from D.C., from the feds. Good morning, Pharaoh. Resources come here, and instead of the resources going where they are needed most, quite often they tend to go elsewhere. I remember during the Rawlings-Blake administration, that was the same administration that dealt with Freddie Gray. Obama was coming into office. Obama was sending money to Baltimore. And instead of that money going to East and West Baltimore, Stephanie Rawlings-Blake sent that money downtown. She sent the money downtown. Sent that money downtown. Good morning, Brandon. Sent that money downtown. And when you send that money downtown and so look at downtown now. You send that money downtown instead of the East and West Baltimore where black people live at. You send the money downtown, and now downtown is dead. Because just like America, and I might step on some toes here, not intending, we sent $45 billion to Ukraine at the drop of a dime. $45 billion without even thinking twice. So Kamala Harris had to go to Africa and drop off some millions over there, some billions over there, because you just gave some people $45 billion, and truth be told, you should be using that money at home before you help anybody, including Africa. I love Africa, and I'm grateful for the investment in Africa. But black people in America are still looking for reparations. And yes, I think we should get reparations, absolutely, unequivocally, without a doubt. I didn't blink nor stutter. And we can make that happen. Black people made Biden happen. He wants to get reelected. That happens when the people that got you there the first time are taken care of. And when they are not, some off-brand comes along and knocks them off. That's what Marion Barry told me. I'll never forget him. I interviewed him back around 2011 on a particular subject of Sheila Dixon. And Marion Barry sent some kind words. And he also said, for those who do not serve our community, then vote them out. He was a big fan of Sheila Dixon. But he later said, I said, what do we do when people don't do what we need done? He said, vote the bums out. That's what Marion Barry told me. Love that man. You know what I loved about him is that as well known and as popular and as accomplished as he was, he answered the phone. He answered the phone. We get cats who've been in there 5 minutes, delegate so-and-so, and these cats talking about, I can't talk right now. Can we talk Wednesday? It happened to me. I'm minding my business on a Sunday. Happened to be on Facebook, and this cat hit me in my inbox. I'm like, what you talking about, Willis? Hit me up on my inbox. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. Send me a couple of messages. Okay, here's your answer. And he hit me one more time. And I just picked up the phone and called him. And this cat responded with a text, I can't talk right now. Can we talk Wednesday? I'm like, you interrupted me. And me, myself, I don't like to do a whole lot of talking on Facebook. You know, in the messenger. No, that's not my preference at all. Let's talk on the phone. So, man, we got the West Coast up. Kamal, what you doing up so early? Kamal, I'm going to put the link in here in case you want to join in. But long story short, we don't play with politicians. They work for us. I'll tell you something else. They're only there on a temporary basis. So you get 4 years to prove yourself. And if you prove yourself, there's a link, Kamal, if you want to join in. You get 4 years to prove yourself. And if you don't prove yourself, and Brandon, that goes for you if you want to join in. If you don't prove yourself, then we vote for somebody else. It ain't complicated. I don't care who you are, where you from, what you do, Democrat, Republican, Independent, it don't matter. You don't do your job, boo-boo, we will vote you out. 8 to 80, blind, cripple, or crazy. Everybody got a chance. Anybody can be in office. And what will be interesting is next year's citywide election here in the city of Baltimore. Will be interesting. Some people think they have what it takes to knock Brandon off. I'm going to tell you like this. Right now, he's the king of the hill. If you're going to beat Brandon Scott, you better have a name, you better have a team, you better have some money, and you better have some mob boys to make sure these votes go down like they're supposed to. And that's all I'm going to say about that. I will say I don't have a lot of confidence in the Baltimore City Board of Elections. I've seen too much foolishness, too much chicanery, and I'll tell you this. If I made 1,800 mistakes in my business, we probably wouldn't be on this air right here. 1,800? 1,800 mistakes during the 2016 election. 1,800 voting irregularities in Baltimore City compared to how many? 200 in the other 23 jurisdictions combined. So I say it like this. It's easy to win the Maryland governor's race than it is to win the mayor of Baltimore City, the mayorship. Why? My opinion, I say corruption. Real simple. Ain't no way you're going to tell me Catherine Pugh beat Sheila Dixon in 2016. I ain't believing it yesterday, today, or tomorrow, ever. And then look at it. The big lesson, God don't like ugly and care less for beauty. I don't care who you are. That's what my mama said. And she was drop dead gorgeous. God don't like ugly and could care less for beauty. And treat people like you want to be treated. So we have a Black Wall Street tonight. Special thank you to Chad Williams from the West North Avenue Development Authority. We'll be down in Little Italy and I don't know the pronunciation. I guess it's Rymsk, R-Y-M-K-S. That's the name of the restaurant. Rams, something like that. But that's where we be tonight, 6 p.m. To give you the details. Black Wall Street, Wanada. It's going to be, and we celebrate Black entrepreneurs and professionals, as well as the people who support them regardless of race. R-Y-M-K-S, Rymsk Bar and Grill, 819 Pratt Street, 819 East Pratt Street. Please join the West North Avenue Development Authority as they partner with Be More News to present several individuals and organizations with the Joe Mann's Black Wall Street Award. Their contributions will be acknowledged for their work in housing, economic, and neighborhood revitalization along West North Avenue and supporting the authority during its inaugural year. The event will also serve as our regular meet and greet with good food and drinks for fellow business owners and real estate developers. Brandon, this sounds like you, interested in participating in the redevelopment of West North Avenue. You also have the opportunity to speak with Chad Williams, Executive Director of the West North Avenue Development Authority, about your interest in joining the authority as an employee to fill some top-level positions or pitch your business ideas for working with the authority. So once again, Be More News is on some cutting-edge stuff there to make sure that we connect such entities as WNOD, and this is the West North Avenue Development Authority. It runs from pretty much along Coppin. So to the east of Coppin, coming this way towards Sandtown, and then on the other side of Coppin, going towards Walbrook Junction. So there's been a lot of investment, especially since '02 in that area. Robert Early put a lot of money into Coppin. Hogan came back and put some money there. You have the Imaj Center run by Rashid Aziz. And it's just, time to build on that synergy. Kudos to the young Senator Antonio Hayes for being a part of it. Yes, Brandon. Kudos to the young Antonio Hayes, state senator, who's worked his way up. Let me tell you something about Antonio, Senator Hayes. Antonio has worked in and around politics, since what? Mid-90s? Young man, but he's put in over half of his life into politics. And I'm sure, he has his critics like Senator Barbara Robinson. But truth be told, Antonio, even at a young age, has put more time into state and local politics than people twice his age. He sure has. Yes, he has. Been a loyal Democrat, has paid his dues, and now we're seeing what manifests, particularly when people, if you ask me, Corey McCray, both of those are two of our rising stars. One thing I love about Senator McCray, besides his love for history and his love for reading Black history, including my books, Unapologetically Black and I Am Black Wall Street, Senator McCray is a consummate politician. I remember when I first met him, how he introduced himself. And it's nice to see young Black men from Baltimore who are engaged, mentally fully aware of what they're doing, what they're engaged in. But I think what makes me really proud of Senator McCray is he didn't let a mistake define him. He did not let a mistake define him. Made a mistake, kept going, persevered, and thanks to the encouragement of his mom and his sister, he's become the state senator of East Baltimore. No easy feat. Beating Senator McFadden, no EDO, Eastside Democratic Organization, no easy feat. That's where Martin Mitchell down in Prince George's County is such a memorable person, as well as, what's the young man's name? Forgive me, the name will come to me. But Martin Mitchell, young man, young lion, involved in politics. I've dubbed him the cannabis councilman. He's just gotten into politics, and I think it was Irvin Reed who first enlightened me to Martin Mitchell. Richard Deshae Elliott is a young man down in, not Richard Elliott, Mike. He's a mayor. Damn, his name escapes me. Colin Bird, dynamic young politician, young Black men. That's the name of the show, Black USA. Yes. Well, he was. And then they voted someone else in. But Colin Bird, before, yes. You're mixing me up there, Michael Haney. I think Tim Adams was the mayor of Bowie. He ran for office. But Colin Bird got the stadium, got Bird Stadium renamed. And this was named after a racist down there in Prince George's County, but they got his name taken off. That's what Colin Bird did. As a student, not as a politician, as a student. And you know what it was? This is the gun. That's the gun. I got, Mike Haney. He deals with a lot of people in media. We deal with young people all the time. When I was at Coppin, news director for the TV station, same thing. A lot of us want to be in front of the camera. Young ladies, I'm really thinking about them in particular. Attractive, want to be a news anchor. Before they got on our team, they had to use this. Because we don't care how cute you are, you better be able to write. Because that's the foundation of media, the pen. You can be as cute as you want to be, but if you cannot write, then you've missed the whole point, and you will not come through my shop and not know how to write. Writing is the foundation of everything we do. You got to write it out. People want to be on front of the camera, and I try to tell them an easier job is being a writer, because you'll always have a job. When you are the talent in front of the camera, you'll be moving around from town to town. Tell me I'm lying. If I'm lying, I'm dying. I ain't trying. If you're a news anchor, they typically send you to small town USA, and then you go on that journey, that tour. From one, the goal is always to get into a larger market, but it's not the lifestyle that I needed, especially being a dad. When my child first was born, I wanted to work at this particular news outlet. I won't say any names. And they told me that I needed to go get some more experience. Senate seat in Maryland, you'd have to enlighten me, Michael Haney. So let me give you the link. We had another show planned, Michael Haney, but that person didn't show, and we had to keep it moving because no one monkey stopped the show. So there's the link. No, the seat doesn't belong to a black person. The seat belongs to whoever works for it. Black, white, Latino. They're talking up also Brooke PG. I would imagine they're talking about her for U.S. Senate. Well, yeah, I would imagine that. And the deal should have been cut. My understanding is that the deal was cut. Like Westmore wouldn't have gotten PG County without Alsabrook. Angela Alsabrook. She's the county executive of Prince George's County. I've always thought that she was next in line. Now, she wasn't originally there. And I know there's going to be some pushback. I remember this, Michael Haney. I believe the year was 2006. And no, you weren't. We started in, I'm going to put the link here, but here's the link. We had to change shows because I thought you weren't coming. But listen, we also Brooks. Oh, we just get discombobulated. 06, the Senate run, what's his name? Kwesi went down to run for office with for U.S. Senate and did not get the support of the powers that be, including Martin O'Malley and Mike Miller. I'll never forget it. He was running up and down the road, campaigning galore. And it should have been a black man in that Senate seat. And see, that's where, it's very special that, what's his name? Westmore wins the big seat. Because there was a time when blacks did not get this kind of support. Miller has since died. Mike Bush has since died. So black people don't get the opportunity sometimes because the vestiges of historic racism are dead and stinking. Dead and stinking. So there was a lot of effort that went in long before Westmore became governor for there to be a black governor. And truth be told, it took some Republican efforts to make the Democrats appreciate a black man or black woman. So yes, it should be Angela also Brooks in that position. It should be. She deserves it. A lot of people don't know. You can win Maryland if you win the black people in Baltimore and the black people in Prince George's. And when I say Baltimore, I do mean Baltimore City and Baltimore County. You can swing any election, Democrat or Republican, black or white. Who those black people go for, everybody else tends to go in sync. That's why the Republican can never win without black people, ever, not in Maryland. We saw it. I don't even remember the guy's name, but he was a Trump supporter. He came in, thought he could win Maryland. Sorry, it'd be Kelly Schultz, because we would have had a better chance with Kelly Schultz in the black community. Black people will vote for a Republican, a moderate Republican, but black people will not vote for someone that doesn't acknowledge black people. In a 30% black state, and you don't want to acknowledge black people, good luck with that, homeboy. You won't be winning here. But after we get these people in these positions, we then have to parlay those things. Again, like Marion Barry said, like Tommy Broadwater said, Tommy Broadwater being the first black state senator from Prince George's County. If politics without economics equals zero. You got not only have to have the politics, but you have the economics. The politics has to translate in economics. That's it. See what my man talking about. You agree with that, Mr. Haney? Politics got to translate into economics?
Absolutely agree with you, Donnie. Good morning.
Good morning. How you been?
I've been doing fantastic. Let me take you out of one of these channels. I got you up in 2 channels. Hang on a second here. Let me get you out, man.
Is that
I've
a
been watching
Baltimore
you.
bench that you have behind you?
Yeah, it's a big Baltimore bench, man. I'm sitting down here talking to the people about probably one of the biggest opportunities in black politics in the state of Maryland in decades. Ben Cardin deciding not to run for a 6th term or 5th term as the U.S. Senate representative for Maryland, which would give.
I remember when the Negroes jumped behind Ben Cardin and put him in the office. I remember when the Negroes did it. They did that over Kwesi.
Well, you have to understand the power of the Jewish community.
Larry Young was the lead one.
Well, because of the power of the Jewish community, that's where we have to go. They've been trying to train and work.
Tell him to go sit his ass down. No, nobody want to hear from him. We tired of that old Negro. We tired of that old. Come on, go sit down, son. It's a new day.
We got to celebrate all people, man. You know, we're at a stage where we
done had a lot of stepping fetches in there, though, Haney. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, you know, that's part of the game. Not they target you. That's why Cheryl Glenn went down. That's why Nathaniel Oakes went down. That's why Sheila went down. That's why Catherine went down. When you don't play their game, man, they figure out a way to get you, you know, and that's the way it is. But this Senate seat that's coming up gives the country and the state of Maryland an opportunity that doesn't come too often. Right now, we've got who in the U.S. Senate that's black? Tim Scott, the Republican from South Carolina, and who else? We've got Warnock, Raphael Warnock. I'm sure he could use some company in the U.S. Senate. So 2 senators that are black in this country, right? Kamala Harris was one that she, before she was the vice presidential candidate, but Maryland has an opportunity to help leverage black people's power in the U.S. Senate. I just don't know also, Brooke, I don't know if she's the right one. I know they're touting her. I know that they do a lot of stuff behind the scenes, and Ben Cardin's announcement was not anything but strategic. You also have scuttlebutt about Johnny O wanting to run as well, and David Troon out of Montgomery County, who pours millions and millions of his money, his alcohol money. He put $12 million into his U.S. representative campaign out there in Montgomery County. He's well
I'm
funded.
with Also Brooks all day long.
Also, Brooks, they're touting because she's a Black woman.
She also made sure that you had a Governor Westmore.
Oh, there's no doubt. She delivered the governor's house for. She delivered that, as well as a number of other people. But now all of a sudden, we've got a Black opportunity for a U.S. senator, and this isn't Senate seats.
Also, Brooks.
Senate seats aren't just for the states. This is breaking news, Donnie. Senate seats are for the country. A U.S. senator, besides a governor, are the two positions in this country that lead to the presidential or to the White House. But U.S. senators have power that are compelling for this country, man. And we have to realize that. So we've got to ensure that Maryland, with an opportunity to elect a Black U.S. senator, realizes the implications aren't just for Maryland. Where'd you go, Donnie? Don't leave me, man. I'm gun shy on your show. In any event, I think that, I'm amazed that isn't the conversation, that Donnie didn't hold a breaking news once Ben Cardin announced that he wasn't going to run, and Ben said that he wasn't going to run or announcing it because he wanted to give candidates an opportunity to campaign in a spirited fashion with the elections coming up in 2024. We also realize that Larry Hogan, a very popular governor, former governor in Maryland, has also been approached by the Republican Party to run for that seat. Had he run against our other U.S. Senate candidate, who's our other U.S. Senator? What's his name?
Van Hollen.
If he had run against him, if he had left the governor's seat and let Boyd Rutherford become governor for a year to be the first Black governor at that point and run against Chris Van Hollen, I believe that Hogan would have beat Chris Van Hollen in that Senate seat. But I don't think
that was a nice move. That was a nice move. What would he have done for that 1 year?
Who would have done for that 1 year, Boyd?
You said Hogan left office a year early and let Boyd move up?
Yeah, he could have either announced the fact that he was going to run for president or ran against Chris Van Hollen for the U.S. Senate seat, which I believe would have been a hotly contested, close race.
A better moneymaker.
Hogan would have carried. He would have carried the momentum, man. I think it would have been a good move. And he says, hey, let the Republicans get the first Black governor in the state, and let Boyd, who's been a loyal soldier and a big friend, not only to the Maryland, but to Black people. I had him on my show last week, man. Very, very well viewed. And the perspective this brother offered was compelling, man. But that would have been a great move.
Boyd Rutherford.
Boyd is a consummate bureaucratic politician. One of the reasons he said that he did not run for governor, first of all, he says his wife would have divorced him. His wife had no taste for politics. And Boyd just built that way. Boyd is a great guy.
She had a little taste for politics, but she had a 8 year.
Yeah, well, they know it's a cutthroat game, man. And I was with him at his book signing 2 Fridays ago. I'm sorry?
She wanted a baby back.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It was good to see because they're good people, man. Really good people. And I'm kind of glad he didn't because, it just changes the dynamics of who you are, man. He did what he had to do. Let him go out in the world, make money. He had a great time as lieutenant governor. He wrote a book. He published his book 2 weeks ago. He traveled 75 state parks, man. I mean, he was just a great guy. But back to this U.S. Senate. Boyd Rutherford.
Did you say he has a book?
Yeah, he has a book he wrote, Rutherford Travels. Actually, it's a journal with a book, in my estimation. Matter of fact, I have it here somewhere called
Rutherford has a book out?
Yeah.
The scooper done got scoop.
Here it is right here, man. Rutherford Travels. Yeah, Rutherford Travels right here. Boyd's book. Boyd's a great guy, man. He's a great guy. But back to this U.S. Senate race, Donnie, which is breaking news, particularly on your show, because you keep people informed. And when you're not aware and knowledgeable, you know, then there's
Is
a
that a book
concern
or a
because the
magazine?
people.
Turn that to the side. Let me see that.
There it goes. Well, you want to see how thick it is?
Let me see the back. Turn around.
Yeah, Rutherford Travels, man. Boyd Rutherford's book, man. You know, so the point of it is that Boyd, you know, deserved. He was a loyal soldier to the state, loyal soldier to Governor Hogan, and you know, just an all-around great guy, man, and
He's
a
a man of
black
his
man
word.
through and through, man. This guy, he is a man of his word, big time. And he although he represents all the people, he never forgot where he came from, man, and ensured that he did
Washington,
as much as
D.C.
he came from Washington, D.C., but he came from, you know, black culture and black community. I didn't realize that he was once a Democrat because in D.C., you know, he had to be a Democrat because he wanted to participate in primary elections, which is a big issue in our country or in states that make it so you have to play party politics in primary elections. But he was once a Democrat, decided that the Democratic Party did not align to his values, particularly as relates to business. He believes that small business is the true economic engine for black community development, man. And so, you know,
Right
he took
on.
that as a mission, you know. He's a good guy, man. And so back to this U.S. Donnie, because we got to ensure that they understand the significance of this, particularly on Black USA, Be More News. They've got to know that it is breaking news that we finally have gotten a breakthrough. I know you remember the last time that we had an opportunity with Donna Edwards, the former U.S. representative of Prince George's County, when she ran President. We didn't unite and we didn't surround her. I liked her. She was a very viable candidate. I thought she did a decent job in Washington as a U.S. representative.
The black women in
for
Baltimore
Prince George's
County weren't
County.
having her, and they jumped on the
Yeah,
side of Van Hollen. I don't know what was going
Yeah,
on
that
out
was
there,
a
but
woman thing. Yeah, that was a woman thing. That was a woman thing, man. You know, so I stay out of that and let them do their thing. Angela also Brooks, if she's the one, I think that we have to ensure the next 12, 14 months, we discern her well, we
they better
figure out
spread
what
that
our
money
agenda
around.
is in order to. Yeah, man, but we got to make sure that we get what we need as a community, and that the behind the scenes stuff that goes on to pick her by people that aren't necessarily looking like us
I
because they
said,
want to hold her up.
where were you in 06? Where were you in 06 when Kwesi
Where was I?
when Kwesi wanted that Senate seat and the white boys ignored him like yesterday's trash?
Well, you know, because, you know, maybe there was too much baggage that they knew about what subsequently came out about him that they didn't
They all
think he was
got
viable.
baggage. They all
Hey,
got
they do.
baggage. His
Baggage
baggage
is
ain't no
different.
different than the rest of them.
Black baggage is different than white baggage. If that was the case, I believe that was Elijah Cummings' seat when Barbara McCarthy left, but it was a reason why he didn't run. But, you know, God rest his soul. We're not going to talk about that.
I don't.
You know,
Well,
but
a
there are a
politics is
multitude
all
of
fair.
issues.
They all fair in
The
politics.
higher
I don't buy
the
that.
higher,
Hey, let me
the
tell you something. I look
deeper
around the
into
seventh.
the closet they go.
I look around the 7th congressional district, and let me tell you, I'm not impressed.
Well, you know, it was a matter that the choices we think we make as a people, maybe not our choices, but only because they're put in front of us by the establishment.
Hey man,
Whatever
I
we
want to
call
keep on hearing those speeches about sharecropping. We want to hear some speeches about the money, about new schools.
Yeah, well, that's why it's important we understand the
Or
dynamics of this
economic development.
presidency. That's why it's important that we have the conversations at every turn. You were talking earlier. You were talking earlier about the power of Black media. You held up the pen and you said the power of the pen. But the power of the press and Black media like you that carry the message and inform that our people understand the real deal and the real agenda that you don't get from the Baltimore Brew, the Baltimore Banner, the Annapolis Times, the Chicago Tribune, etc. That is what's important. We understand what the real agenda of our people should be. Because if not, we're only getting the sound bites and what it is that they want to give us, as we always have done, man. This is important. It's important that we do a breaking news that a Senator Ben Cardin is resigning and that here's an opportunity, in addition to having a Black governor, a Black mayor, and you said that it's not bad to have a Republican or someone, as long as they understand the needs of our community. They could be white, they could be whatever. That's a rarity. But you're very absolutely right. But here's a chance for us to have a Black U.S. Senator, man, in conjunction with a Black governor who will, in my estimation, in 2028, be a viable candidate for the office of the presidency of the United States. They are positioning him in that now. He's got the financial wealth because presidential candidates cannot be poor. He's got the astute knowledge. In addition to that, he has the age. He is probably the number one draft choice. When you talk about draft choices equated to football, Wes Moore is probably the candidate. If Joe Biden can get through this next election in 2028, mark my word, Wes Moore will be in the top 3 of presidential discussions in this country. You'll start to see him get out in 2 years, as you start to see him now, and get even further national recognition. And the biggest secret he has in this corner that's not so much a secret?
His wife.
Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey.
Oprah.
Oprah Winfrey. You know how when she did her book things with people, as soon as someone opened their book on her show, it went viral and it became number 1 on the New York top seller list. She did the same thing for Wes Moore. Between also Brooke delivering the votes and Oprah helping deliver the money nationally with Wes, he couldn't lose. And she's going to do the same thing 2 years, 3 years after election for president to position him to be the viable candidate in 2028. No doubt in my mind about it.
Well, he's got to win re-election first.
Who? Yeah, it's interesting you say that, Donnie. I was watching the polls a day that came out in his first 90 days. He's polling at about 53% approval, with 26% disapproval, and 20% that just don't know or give a damn, right? And 53%, they touted Hogan's 70-some%. And the 26% that don't approve is kind of astounding. I'm like, is that the racial dynamics of I
Race
just can't like him?
Not that I remember him.
Absolutely, man. And so the 53%, when you look at what it is that he just got through legislatively, the fact that he's really not made any missteps, first of all, 90 days, is that not too soon? Well, probably not coming out of the legislative session.
Way too soon. Way too soon. Come on, man. Let the man find out what the
do. That's what they do.
Because that's America. It's a double standard.
Well, it's not a double standard. It's a standard. It's only double when they don't allow us to participate in the polling process by creating the questions and being able to figure out, how we're going to judge. That's the double standard.
Because remember, they would have taken Perez over Wes Moore. They quickly dismissed Franchot. Can we touch on that for a second, Michael Haney? Can we touch on how Peter Franchot was ultimately dismissed by the white power structure.
Yeah, I think it happened 3 years before the election when he, I think Derek Davis, who's our U.S. Treasurer, and then you've got the state senator, I forget his name, Montgomery County, Senator Penske, how he, went at them, and he always seemed to side with Hogan. I think the alliance with Hogan and the fact that people viewed Peter as a conservative Democrat or a liberal Republican, however you want to choose the terminology for his type of politics, was something that just teed the traditional Democratic Party off. They didn't like that. And believe me, we have to really look at the Democratic Party. Is it really our friend or our foe? Well, it all depends. When you look at what it is that we get, when we look at what we get from them at the end of the day,
they treat black people like a side piece.
I don't know. I
treat black people like a concubine.
I think it's time for a third party. What does that look like? It's time for
they won't do that because a third party,
Green Party is not it.
A third party will cut that.
It's time for us to figure it out. It's time for us to cut it out, because one of the things that is unfortunate about us as a people is that we don't understand leverage. And this is a question that the Lieutenant
Republican Party. This is a two-party system. More of us need to join the Republican Party.
Maybe all of us need to create our own party. Maybe all of us need to create our own party.
We've done that move, and they counter that move. Because they always pay off some black people. That's how you do it. You pay off.
What do they do? Give us another block of
you pay off Jesse Jackson.
Cheese?
You pay them
Give
off.
us some more U.S. agriculture cheese. Is that what they pay us off?
They don't plan on sharing it. And if you want it, you got to take it.
Yeah, that's real, man. I absolutely agree with you. But, Boyd said this on the show a couple of weeks ago, that, it's imperative when you look at the Democratic Party, you look at the Republican Party, and you look at the fact that Democrats tend to give social programs, but not opportunities for businesses, right? So they'll maintain us as a status quo of lower middle class and ensure that, our welfare rights are protected. But when it comes for the opportunity, I'm not quoting him as saying this is my interpretation of what it is that happens. When it comes for opportunity from a business perspective to level the playing field, we don't always see that. I'm hoping with a Westmore and a Brooke Learman and a Derek Davis on the board of Public Works for the state, that we see that trend change. I saw that there was a prime contractor event in the state in Baltimore City where we're looking, and I heard your guy, Ari Harrington, talk about the fact that, we have to start dealing with prime. I'm not going to no meeting, man, to meet the primes. If I'm not a prime, why would I go? I'm going to meet a prime. That's like me going
Mike, I gotta
decide which master I want to serve. Why am I thinking that?
Can I say something?
Absolutely, man. It's your show.
It's a start, and it was a good event to attend. I understand your philosophy. But if Robert Harrington asked me to show up, I'm gonna show up. I'm not gonna think twice.
Hey, so what I'm saying about R.E. Harrington with Robert Harrington, his wonderful mom, as well, who I've had an opportunity to interview also, is that he agrees with the fact that we can't continue to go to these things as subprimes and working as subs.
That was the significance of this event.
He was there looking to be a prime, and that was a significance. You're absolutely right. But you made a statement to we have to somewhere. Oh my. I am tired at the age of 65, having lived through the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, and now the 21st century, of talking about starting somewhere under Democratic regimes, Republican regimes, whatever. I'm tired. I don't want to hear I got to start somewhere. I started somewhere decades ago when my parents were whipped by you. So don't tell me that, hey, where we want to be, but we're where we can. No, you need to be where you need to be.
Michael Haynes, Michael Haney.
Yeah.
How do you know your parents were slaves or your great grandparents? How do you know they were slaves?
Because I've done the research. I've done the research, Donnie. I've done the research.
Okay.
I've done the research. We all have.
Okay.
You know, we came out of Whitestone, Virginia on my father's side. And then, you know, on my mother's side, from Turks and Caicos to the Bahamas, up the east coast of the United States through South Carolina, you know, we found out our family legacy. And by the way, Donnie, let me say this quickly. Laurel Cemetery on the backdrop of Bel Air Road, Laurel Cemetery, you know where the where that big store is. What's that store called? Right across from Clifton Park, that big clothing store. You know that bodies of blacks are buried there. My sister Sharon, Dr. Sharon Haney, on Thursday on WBAL at 5 o'clock, they're doing a story on the Black Cemetery, Laurel Cemetery, which they build a shopping center on top of 10,000 black graves that they were supposed to move out to Harford County. Instead of moving them over, they put asphalt on top of them. And you talk about an atrocity. You talk about an atrocity that exists today, and bones are floating down the street of Bel Air Road right now, as a result of enterprising people, don't want to say white people, although they were, that decided rather than to
Forman Mills.
Rather than to where Foreman Mills is in Baltimore City, is Laurel Cemetery, sacred ground for black people in Baltimore. So my grandmother was born there, was buried there in the 30s. My grandmother, which is how my sister got involved. And they were supposed to move the graves of these black people from Laurel Cemetery on Bel Air Road in Baltimore across from Clifton Park to another grave site. You think they did? Watch the story Thursday on WBAL at 5 p.m., man. And here's
how come we can't get on that? Why can't we get her on this network?
You can get her whenever you want, man. She's been on my show. She's highly, highly intelligent, speaks 6 languages, has traveled to every
Look at this
continent.
comment from Tyreek.
And it's illegal in this country. Please. It is legal to treat people as slaves as well. So we got to get out of that legality. When we see in the Constitution of this country the word slavery in the 13th Amendment associated with prisons, and then we see the development of for-profit prison businesses, right, to talk about illegalities, man. So it's illegal. Please, man, let's get real. Watch the show at 5 o'clock on WBAL, and hopefully we can get Donnie to bring Sharon, Dr. Haney on his show after that piece runs, so that you all can hear this compelling stuff. And it's happening all around the country, Donnie. It's happening just because it's in Baltimore, them building shopping centers on top of black graves. It's happening in countries and in states all around this country, man. That's what they do. Hey, they did them black people. I was going to use the word, but I know you don't like it. I don't care.
No, I don't.
We don't care about them. This is real estate. Build some for-profit retail on top of these black folks. Move what you can. They got bones floating on Bel Air Road, Donnie, as a result, and grave casket pieces floating on Bel Air Road, man. This is some real stuff, man.
Michael Taney, that's all we have time for today. We will be back tomorrow. You want to plug your show, Michael Haney?
Hey, 60 Minutes in Black America every Sunday, 6 p.m. This week, we are talking about the ball of confusion in Black America as we talk about transgender athletes, abortions in Black communities, the economic recession in America. On Mondays, we do Wake Up Baltimore, a very, very popular podcast that focuses on all positive, all Baltimore. Next Monday, we're featuring teacher Alicia Manning of Cecil Elementary School, a Heart of the School awardee here in Baltimore. Donnie, thank you so much for inviting me on, my man.
Good deal.
Hey, I'm proud of you, Donnie.
Well, I'm proud of you too.
Thank you, man. All because of you.
Good morning, world. Thank you for your support, Michael Haney.